Okay, yesterday we have a little unfinished business. I'd like to, we split four sheetas. One is psal hayotzim min sukkah, right? Psal is lashon of tzchach hayotzim min sukkah. So the first one was that it's the back wall of a sukkah, and you have little walls extending, and you have tzchach extending, and we said it's a good sukkah. What was the chiddush? That even though it's made for the inside, that was the first shita. Second shita was that you have tzchach extending off the sukkah, and you have one wall extending with it. You have one wall extending with it. Despite the fact you don't have two other walls, it's still considered it's a good sukkah. A third opinion was you have in one spot of the sukkah, you have most of the sukkah is tzilsa moved mechamsa, and you have one spot that's chamsa moved tzilsa. Right? We're going to say that even though the sukkah was only 4.5, it was 4.5, and that was 2.5, right? So you don't have the share of 7 of kosher schach. Even though it went out of the Torah sukkah, it is going to be what? Extra sukkah, it's going to be a good sukkah. That's the halacha, guys. That's the, and finally 4.5 and 2.5 of airspace, right? The airspace combines it to 7. It's going to go ahead wide and in kosher sukkah. Says the Rif, no one's arguing. They're each telling you 4 separate dinim, and the halacha is like those dinim. So again, a crazy halacha. If you have a sukkah, you sign tfachim, a small sukkah, 4.5 tfachim, you have roiv. Roiv is good. If roiv is good and the minority is not good, it's going to be a kosher sukkah. Now you can't eat under that area. You can't. The sukkah 4.5. I'm sitting under the 2.5, looking up at the sky. Nothing's there. But the area that you're eating under would be a kosher sukkah. So that was I thought I did Tafish Lamed Aleph, Sifavav Zion. That's a chiddush, and that is the halacha. Guys, it's really, I'm thinking about it. We're finishing the parak today. It's kind of really hard to mess up a sukkah. I mean, really, when you don't know too much, you sit on the sukkah, you see your bamboo is going apart a little bit, and you decide you're not yotza. Listen to this. If you have airspace or sukkah soles, it's got to go across the whole length of the sukkah and divide the sukkah. That's what's talk about dividing the sukkah. Now, even if it divides the sukkah, it's only going to be puzzle is if you don't have a sheer sukkah. No one doesn't have 7.5 tefachim on one side and 7.5 tefachim on the other side. No one. 7.5 tefachim is less than, it's 2 feet. It's nothing with nothing. So even if you go ahead, your sukkah falls into the middle. Like, let's say your schach falls in the middle of sukkahs, right in the middle, labrias. Your sukkah, you can't sit on that area, but the sides of the sukkah would be a kosher sukkah. The sides of the sukkah will be a kosher sukkah. You should be aware. And if you have a problem in the size, you have daifan akuma. There's so many heterim for a sukkah, but it's good to know why. It's good to know why. And Baruch Hashem, I think we covered a lot of inyanim and a lot of things. Hopefully by sukkahs we'll remember some of them. And because tonight we're going to finish Bemis, we're going to finish sukkah tonight. And then we're going to speak in the sukkah. But the dinim hechsher sukkah really is the first parak. Okay, the last inyan in this parak is describing mats. I'm going to get into a little mats are which kind of mats, tar, a tame. So be aware there's we say a big mat and a small mat. So what's a big mat? What's a big mat? Big mat's a big mat. Because a small mat is what a person can lie down upon. Umashahu. This is based upon the Ran. The Ran says the Lashon is the shir kedei shchiva, the shir of shchiva, and we're all familiar with the sefer, the Aruch Laner, of Yaakov Ettlinger, the Aruch Laner. He wrote a sefer on Sukkot called Bikuri Yaakov. And he says, like the Ran, it's got to be, since you don't lie down exactly on that amount, is mashahu. So a small mat would be 3 amas, which is between 4.5 and 6 feet. That's a small mat. Anything bigger than that is a big mat. Anything bigger than that is a big mat. Now the question is, what's the problem? Synonymous. Sukkah, we know there's 2 things it has to be. It has to be gedulei aretz, it has to grow from the ground, and it can't be makabel tumah. So the halacha of the mat is, if the mat's going to be makabel tumah, you can't use it for schach. If the mat is not makabel sukkah tumah, you could use it for the schach. The question is, what mat what mat would be makabel tumah? Is a mat that you lie down upon. You lie down upon it as a shame. A zav would lie down upon it. A zav would sit upon it as a shame kli. So if it's the shchiva, here's the buzzwords. If it's the shchiva for lying down upon, you can't use it for schach. If it's made l'sichuch, if it's made for, like our mats are made for the purpose of schach, no one's lying down on those things, right? Those mats that we put together, right? That we roll out, those are made l'sichuch, and therefore they're kosher. Therefore the mats are kosher. So that really is the primary. The shchiva is makabel tumah, you can't use it. L'sichuch is not makabel tumah, and you could use it. The question is there machlokes, and we'll see.
The mice doesn't have to be dafka for schach. It just has to be not for keli. It means it could be, you go to Home Depot and you have something that's used for an awning, like a type of for like a sun deck type of thing. They make these mats, these reed mats. It's not l'shem schach, but it's not l'shem keli. That's I think that's the right.
I don't know. Machzeles konim gedoyla. Now, machzeles konim, a machzeles of reed, a mat of reeds. Gedoyla, that's big, and we have a definition of big. Anything that's over 3 amas and a mashu. I'm on Yutes Amid Beis, Yutes Amid Beis, right at the Mishnah. The Mishnah Yutes Amid Beis. Okay, so machzeles konim gedoyla, ason l'shchiva. If you made them for the purpose of shchiva, mikabelas tuma, the makabel tuma, ve'em misachim ba l'sikuch, ve'em misachim ba. L'sikuch, if they're made for the purpose of covering, then misachim ba, you could go ahead and use it for schach, ve'em mikabelas tuma. So that was our statement. Now, what did the Chachamim tell you guys? They didn't tell you the din of a machzeles katana. He just mentioned gedoyla. He also didn't tell you what's the din of machzeles stam. The key to the sugi, guys. What happens here? It's when you designated it. I made it for the purpose of shchiva. I made it for the purpose of sichach. What happens when I made it stam? What status does it have? You told me what is if it's fleishik. You told me what is it's milchix. What happens if it's pariv? You didn't say anything. So again, the Chachamim, one of the problems, the issue in the Mishnah, the ambiguity of the Mishnah is what exactly, what's the case of Ketana? He only mentioned Gedoyla. And what's the case of Stam? And what's the case of Stam if you didn't designate it for either Shchiva or Schach? Rabbi Eliezer says, Achas Ketana ve'achas Gedoyla. Again, he does bring in Ketana, right? He says, whether it's Ketana, whether it's Gedoyla, also the Shchiva, if you made it for the purpose of lying down, Mekabelis Tuma. It's Mekabel Tuma. They misachim ba. L'sikuch, misachim ba mean Mekabelis Tuma. So we know that they argue. The question is, what do they argue in? They both seem to be saying, if you designate it for what? For schach, it's good. If you designate it for shchiva, it's no good. And Rabbi Eliezer mentions katana, where as opposed to the chachamim, they don't. So again, we're trying to figure out, guys, two questions we have to answer. One, what do the chachamim hold by katana? And two, more importantly, what do they hold by stam? What do they hold by stam? Good? Says the Gemara. Hagufa kasha. The Mishnah innately is shver. Within itself, the Mishnah is shver. We're on Yutes Amid Beis, the Gemara. Hagufa kasha. The Mishnah innately is shver. Amit, you said, asol l'shchiva, if you made it for the purpose of lying down upon, mekabel is tuma. And why? Because they mesachim. Why? Taima. The reason why is the asol l'shchiva. You made it for the purpose of lying down upon. It was designated as a kli, as a mat to lie upon. Therefore, you can't use it for schach. Hastama, if you didn't designate it, pirish. Again, the only reason it's no good is because I said for shchiva. What happens if I didn't say shchiva? What did I didn't say for anything? Hastama l'sikuch, right? Then stam would be for schach, would be good. For hadatani, and then in the next line you say, l'sikuch, if you made it for the purpose of sikuch, then misachkin bavein makabel tuma. Taima, why could you use it? The asol l'sikuch, because you designated it for schach. Hastama, if you didn't say anything, hastama l'shchiva. So you have the inference of the Mishnah is contradicting each other. Let's go back to the Mishnah, guys. Watch. I'm going to stick in the Mishnah. Machzelas kanim gedoyla, asol l'shchiva. If you made them for the person shchiva mekabelas tama. What happens if you didn't make it for the purpose of shchiva? Then it's good, right? Next, came talking about l'sikuch. If you made it for the purpose of sikuch, then misachim ba ben mekabelas tama. What happens if you didn't make it for sikuch? Then it would be mekabel tama. So the inference of the reisha to the seifa is contradictory. Which one is it? And for the Gemara, holy kasha, it's not a problem. Kambik doyle, kambik tana. Ketana, all of a sudden, by Gedoyla, guys, if you Stama Gedoyla is the Shriva. A Ketana, Stama Ketana is for what? Is for Shriva. And okay, so again, one more time. Gedoyla, Stama Gedoyla is for what? For Schach. If you make it for Shriva, it's no good. Stama Ketana is for Shriva. If you make it for Schach, it's good. So it's not fair. It's not. What? Well, no, we're explaining what the stam is. There is a stam. A gedoyla, stam of gedoyla is l'schach. If you make it stam, it's l'schach. What's the case? Stam azoi, if you made it right, it's not a kabel toma. Stam, right? Stam, it's not. You'd have to for gedoyla say, "I'm making for shriva." That's the lashon of Mishnah. In order for it, right? Conversely, ketana, stama ketana is makabel toma. It's l'shriva. But if you make l'schach, it's going to be tzchach. Good. That's a pshat. That's a pshat. Good. Now, Rabbi Eliezer Omer. So l'chayra, it's very good. Now,
the Tanakama would hold what with the katana. He's not addressing it at all.
Yeah, he did address it. Here's the way you read the Mishnah. Mechatzelis kamen gedoyla, asal l'shiv mekabelas tuma v'mesachim ba. Ketana, right? Ketana, stama ketana is l'sikach, and then stama ketana is l'shkiva. L'sikach mesachim ba mekabelas tuma. So therefore, those words are going on ketana, and Kamsel and Rabbi Eliezer disagree. But they are machalik. They're very, very good. What's stama ketana? No good. But if you make it tzchichuch, it's good. What's the name by gedoyla? Stam, it's good. Make it that's the pshat in the Mishnah right now. Look, Asher, that's the pshat in the Mishnah. That's the chachamim. We didn't get to Rabbi Eliezer yet. You jumped the gun. I just learned pshat. Rabbi Eliezer didn't talk yet. Right? Rabbi Eliezer didn't talk yet. Now, Rabbi Eliezer Omer, achas ketana v'achas gedoyla, asol l'shchiva mekabeles tuma v'mesachim ba. Good. That's what he said. So if you made the shchiva now, time with us all the shchiva hastama l'sikach. Good. That. In other words, Rabbi Eliezer, guys, going with that pshat. Go back to the Mishnah. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, achas ketana v'achas gedoyla is what is for the purpose of. As the purpose of what of sikach. Also l'shchiva mekabeles tuma v'mesachim ba. But you can't say that because continue on. L'sikach mesachim ba v'mekabeles tuma. We just slug you up. We have AB by, guys, look at me. We have AB by the Chachamim. We have AB by Rabbi Eliezer. How do we answer AB by the Chachamim? A was Gedoyla, B was Ketana, right? Rabbi Eliezer says A is speaking about Gedoyla and Ketana. So what is B speaking about? It doesn't fit. Stimmt nicht. So that's what Gemara is saying. So it's Ema Sefer. Rabbi Eliezer, Achas Ketana v'Achas Gedoyla, Asal l'shchiva mekabeles tuma. Ema Sachkim ba. Time with us all the shchiva. Hastama l'sikach stam is l'schach. Ema say for the same kasha. Also l'sikach masachim ba vein mekabeles tuma. Time with us all the sikach. Hastama l'shchiva. In other words, we're asking the same question on the Rebbe Eliezer as did the Chachamim, and you can't make a distinction between Gedoyla and Ketana because Rebbe Eliezer said they're both the same. Guys, look at me. A B. Let's A and B. A is Gedoyla, B is Ketana. Good. That's the Chachamim. Right, that took care of the stam. The A stam was good, and B and if you make it tonight, it's no good. And B stam B is no good, but if you make it tonight, it is good. Right, that was the chachamim. Now you have Rabbi Eliezer saying the same lashon. Rabbi Eliezer achas gedoyla achas ketana. Then he says A and B, and you can't answer there gedoyla ketana because he was addressing gedoyla ketana in both cases. And he said, whether achas gedoyla achas ketana, stam if you make it is good, and if you say nothing, it's no good. And then you have the diak. Stam, only if you make it, it is good, and if you don't make it, if stam, it's no good. And you can't answer achas gedoyla achas ketana. Why? Because he was speaking about gedoyla ketana all along. In his A, he said gedoyla ketana. In his B, he said gedoyla ketana. But the inference from A and the inference from B don't stem. The inference from A is that it would be good. The inference from B, it's no good. How are you going to answer that up? Are you with me? Good. Says the Gemara. Ella lashon charata. Guys, that terrace that I just gave you, the Gedoyel Katana, throw it out the window. Ella dead end, we're saying a new pshat. Ella amarava. B'gedoyel kuliyam olei pligi. If it's a large mat, everyone agrees, there's stama l'sikach. If you don't designate it, it's good. Ki pligi, when's the machloikis? B'ketana. The machloikis is when it's a small mat. Tanakama sava stam ketana l'shchiva, and it's no good. Rabbi Eliezer sava stam ketana nami l'sikach. It is good. Okay? Now, how do you read the Mishnah? V'achi come out of the Mishnah. Machatzelas hakonim. If you have a mat of reeds, g'dayla. If it's big, then I saw l'shchiva. Then if the g'dayla it's big, meaning it's what? It's good. Why is it good? Because tamazayit is good. But I saw l'shchiva. If you designated it for shchiva, then mekabel l'stumah v'mesachim ba. Taima, the reason it's no good is that saw the shchiva. Hastama nasa kamisha asal l'sikuch and mesachim ba. So it's one lashon, guys. Let's look at the Mishnah, guys. Let's stick Rav's pshat back in the Mishnah. Look, machatzelas atam gedoyla stamazay is good. Asal l'shchiva demekabel l'stumah v'mesachim ba. Hastama l'sikuch mesachim ba v'mekabel l'stumah. That's the way you learn it. In other words, it's telling you the two dinim, right? Comes along Rabbi Eliezer and says, "What?" Back in the Gemara, okay. For us, Rabbi Eliezer after the parentheses, Rabbi Eliezer l'meimar achas katan v'achas gedol the stomach shteri. They're both good. Even a katan is good. L'sichach, okay. If you now comes out, who's meko? Rabbi Eliezer or the Chachamim? Rabbi Eliezer's meko, right? Guys, Rabbi Eliezer's meko. He's saying, you the Chachamim say stam a katana is no good. I'm telling you, stam a katana is good. Good. So now, says the Gemara, on that pshat of Rava, where Rabbi Eliezer, they're saying that they're arguing by, they're agreeing by Gedoyla and arguing by Katana, right? Guys, let's figure right. They're agreeing by Gedoyla, no machloikis, right? Stamazay, it's good, and if you designate it for shtiv, it's no good. No machloikis. Where's the machloikis by Katana? That the Chum say Katana is no good unless you designate it. Says Rabbi Eliezer, even if you don't designate it, it's good. Good. So they're arguing by Katana, and Rabbi Eliezer is Mekel. Rabbi Eliezer is saying that Stam, unless you designate it for what? For Shchiva, even a Katana is good. Stam a Katana is good. That's what he's saying. For us, Rabbi Eliezer Lamema, Achas Katana, Achas good, stomach Shera, L'sikuch. Okay? And only if you designate it's no good. Now, Amalei Abaya Ihachi. If that's your pshat, Ihachi, Rabbi Eliezer, by Katana, he disagrees, right? By Katana disagrees. Guys, what's the bigger chiddush? What's the more obvious? What's the more obvious? A katana or a gedoyla that stamazai is going to be good? No, the gedoyla. Stomach gedoyla good means to be covered up. The larger. Guys, again, listen to my words. What's the more obvious? Guys, what's the more obvious? A large mat or a small mat that's good, stam good? A large mat, right? It's a long Rashi here, but in the dynamics, you always say the obvious first. Rabbi Eliezer said, Achas Ketana, Achas Gedoyla. He should have said, Achas Gedoyla of Achas Ketana. The Gedoyla, which is obvious because it's bigger, is time is good, the Sichuch. Certainly, even the Ketana is good. But he didn't say that. What did he say? He said, Achas Ketana, Achas Gedoyla. Again, in the dynamics of Gemara, when you go ahead, you always list the obvious and then the chiddush. So the obvious is what is the gedoyla, and the chiddush is the kitana. So first question. Ihachi, that they argue by kitana. Achas kitana achas gedoyla. Achas gedoyla achas kitana be boiler. You should have said the obvious that that the gedoyla is good and even the kitana is good. V'oid ki pligi be gedoyla hu de pligi. You said Kuli Alma agree by Gedoyla. I know. They disagree by Gedoyla. Rabbi Eliezer l'chumra. And Rabbi Eliezer is being machmir, not mekel. According to you, Rabbi Eliezer is mekel. He's saying even a katana is good. The Tanya, machzeles hakonim begedoyla misachim ba. A Gedoyla you could use for schach. Rabbi Eliezer oimer im ein mekabel is tumah misachim ba. So what do you see? That he holds that what? That a Gedoyla is also no good. The inference is going to claim out. He's telling you it's no good. Look at Rashi, guys. If he meforish said it's good, then, but if not meforish, it's not good. So you see, he's being machmir. So, guys, outside, what's the kasha? Bomb. Says Rabbi, says Rava. What's the Shana Mishnah? The Chacham say a Gedoyla, Stam Gedoyla is good. And Rabbi Eliezer agrees that Stam Gedoyla is good. Says the Chacham, Stam Katana is no good. Says Rabbi Eliezer, even a Katana is no good. So Rabbi Eliezer is arguing by Katana and agrees by Gedoyla. And Rabbi Eliezer is coming to Mekel. And in the Lashon of the Mishnah, we should say Gedoyla. We say Katana before Gedoyla. First of all, you said Katana first, not Gedoyla first. Sveitens, Rabbi Eliezer argues by Gedoyla. And Dritten, well, third one, he's Machmir, he's not Mekel. According to Rava, he's Mekel. Even a Katana is good. So what's Pshat? So obviously, Abai is rejecting Rava's Pshat that the Machloikis is by Katana and they agree by Gedoyla. Good? So now what do we have? Machloikis is going to be in a second by Katana. And Rabbi Eliezer is going to be Machmir. That's going to be Pshat in the Mishnah. Okay, let's see inside, guys. Very good. Shmak. Says the Gemara. Ella, Lashon Charata. Ella Amar Rav Papa. Says Rav Papa. Pikatana Kulyama Le Pligi. By a small sukkah, everyone agrees this stomach, a small mat, everyone agrees this stomach l'shchiva. What's a mat made for to lie down upon? And therefore, stama mat's going to be makabel tum, and you can't use b'stach. Ki pligi, where's the machlokes bigedoyla? Tanakama sava stam gedoyla l'sikuch. Rabbi Eliezer sava stam gedoyla nami l'shchiva. Stam gedoyla is also not good. Umay also l'shchiva the kama in the Mishnah hachi kama. Stam asiyasa nami l'shchiva ad over the sikuch until you make v'schach. So it comes out like this. Where's the machlokes? Where's the machlokes? By gedoyla. The chacham, everyone agrees by a katana. Stam a small mat is for the purpose. It's no good. You can lie down upon it. Stam a large mat, says the chachamim, is good. Says Rabbi Eliezer, no, stam a large mat is no good. It's no good. We'll view it as if you made a l'shkiva. It's no good. So it comes out now. Rabbi Eliezer is machmir, and the machlokes is by gedoyla. That's pshat in the Mishnah. That's pshat in the Mishnah.
If you go buy used mats and a gedoyla, Rabbi Eliezer says that used mat is mistama.
A used mat? What do you mean a used mat?
That means I bought it. It was used already.
Again, there's the shaila is what designates a mat. If you are really interested, the Rush in the last piece over here, he says that it's here's machlokes. There's a Rabbi Yeshaya who says the guy makes the mat, and whatever the balabas decides, that's what it's going to be. He disagrees that vehemently. He says it goes according to minig hamakam. He said the Rush says it goes. We can see the Gemara on the Yom Beis Yankala. It goes minig hamakam. Whatever the makam decides, it's not up to you. In other words, you're going to go ahead and take that mat that says kosher lehechsha sukkah, and you're going to say I want to lie down upon it. It's still not makabel tuma. You want to lie down upon it? The makam, that makam is what? It's made for that. That again, the minig hamakam, whatever the minig is, with whatever status the makam gives it, it's not up to you. It's a last rush. Okay, so but now, you guys, we have pshat, right? We have pshat. Okay, well, let's read it outside. Okay, the machlokes. Let's go. Rava the machlokes is by Kitana. Machlokes is by Kitana, and everyone admit. No, excuse me. According to Rava, the machlokes is by Gedoyla. By Kitana, I'm saying it wrong. Okay, I'm saying it wrong. I'm sorry. Says Rava says Gedoyla. Everyone, there's no machlokes by Gedoyla. Everyone agrees that stam is good. Machlokes is by what? By Kitana. That the Chacham say no good, and Rabbi Eliezer says yes good. What's no good about that? Just push it. Rabbi Eliezer is being makel, and we see his machmir. Plus, we see he argues by Gedoyla. So therefore, because of that, Rav Papa says machlokes is by Gedoyla. The machlokes is by Gedoyla. That what? The Chacham say stam Gedoyla is good. Rabbi Eliezer stam Gedoyla is no good unless you make it for the purpose of for schach. And they all agree by Katana that it's no good. That stam is no good. Again, the designation would work. Okay, very good shmak. Not an easy Gemara.
You want to say that if you're in Vietnam and they take these, even though we use a beschach on the top, but they all lay down on it, and you're there, you have to.
No, I get it goes after Judaism. It doesn't go after the minute of Goyim.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I would think so. The Gemara is Yeah. Again, we don't those mats. The mats are problems with the strings. The mats they have hechsher. The strings are linen. There's again the mats are not. It's not pasha. There are other issues also with the mats. But again, the ones we have are good. The ones
Not to use metal on it. They some of them they use metal. That's fine.
Again, you have to be careful with the gnats. But again, much more prevalent, guys, is yesterday's Gemara. I repeat, yesterday's Gemara is a pillar. We pass like all those 4 cases. If you have 4.5, guys, if I wake you up in the middle of the night, you never would have in a million years, you say it's true. 4.5 of kosher schach, 2.5 of airspace. You sit under kosher schach, you're in a good sukkah. Right? You're in a good sukkah. If you 4.5 of kosher schach, 2.5 of non-kosher schach, sit under it, you're good. You're good.
That's why if you're sitting under the light bulb.
Okay. Now, again, I reiterate, you have to be careful. This halacha about wherever the psul is, it's a kosher sukkah. Don't sit underneath it. Don't lie underneath. Don't sit underneath. And again, the psul has got to go across the whole sukkah and divide the sukkah into halves. Again, a very good yesod of sukkah is the beginning of the parak. I saw my son Yehona's son, if I say so myself. He says the key to sukkah is the first Rashi in the Masechta. But you know this Rashi, guys. You remember? It says Rashi says Chamsim Mitzilsa Hamuit Batal Baroiv Faru Kimi Sheinoi Vashem Aschach Kari Sukkah. So what do you know? 2 things from that Rashi. 1, what's a sukkah? The schach. And 2, you always go after Roiv. So there you go. Yeah, you say this right there. 4.5, 2.5, good. Why? Because you can't sit under the no good because that's not a covering. You can't sit under the covering. That's the slate of your sukkah. There you go. Go by the safer now. You get 2 one Rashi, 1 line. You're good. It's geshmak, right? It's a very geshmak, guys. You have a look again. You'll sit in the sukkah this year. You'll feel like know something. I saw once like it really is. It's really difficult to mess up a sukkah. I mean, you've got to be a yutz to mess up the sukkah. You really do. It's amazing. I mean, think about it. But I remember you don't learn anything, so you're busy. The schach is apart. What do you do? 3 tvachim is airspace. 3 tvachim. 1, 2, 3. Right? It's pretty good space. Right? Yeah. It's a lot of airspace. If you have the little slats in between. Okay, geshmak. Continuing along. Tan Rabbanan. Machzela shel shifa v'shel gomi. Now these are very soft materials. These are very soft. As a hakdama to the next piece of Gemara, I think I have a nice hakdama. I think so. We'll see if it works out. If you understand it, it's good. If you don't understand it, then I still think I have a nice hakdama, but obviously it's not so good. So, guys, listen up. 3 things. Material, soft or hard. Guys, good? Material, soft or hard. Size, right? Size, big or small. A 3rd component, the way it's stitched. In other words, I can have material, the stitching itself would make it hard, and therefore you wouldn't lie down upon it, or it can be more smooth than you would. So 3 components. 1, the material itself. 2, the size of the material, and B, the way it's woven, the material.
If not something you're
You'll see. We'll see the Gemara. We'll see if this works out. These 3 things. Tanabana. Machzela shel shifa v'shel gemi. Now these are soft material, soft grass. Gedoyla misachkim ba, right? We're passing like the chachamim. Gedoyla, if it's big, it's like the chachamim. Kitana a misachkim ba. If it's kitana, since it's soft, people will lie down upon it. Pretty clear cut. Shel kanim, if it's reeds, v'shel chilis, these are harder materials. So now we have to take in other factors. These are harder materials. Now, if you have a pencil and you're not using an art school, write in gedula, not gedoyla. Gedula is not gedoyla, guys. Gedula is sachimba. If it's braided, meaning it's going to be hard, then misachimba, because you made it for the purpose of covering, because no one's going to lie down on a hard braid. In other words, the way it's woven can define what you're using it for. So the material is what is hard material. Now I can overcome it if I weave it the right way, but if I keep it in a braid, it's like rope. Lie down on a piece of rope, like a rope. That's what it's like. So gedula, like this gedilun tasalcha, guys, the lashon of tzitzis, gedilun tasalcha. This lashon, that's the gedula over here. That's lashon gedilun tasalcha. Then misachim ba, you could use it for schach. Why? Since it's hard, no one is going to go ahead and lie down upon it. Aruga, but if it's woven, then a misachim ba. Then you can't, because woven it'll be chalak, it'll be smooth, despite its hardness, and you'll lie down upon it, and therefore it's makabel tuma, and therefore what you can't use for schach. That's the Tanakama. Rabbi Shmuel, but Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Shmuel, the son of Rabbi Yossi says, Mishum Aviv, in the name of his father, Achazu, va'achazu, Mesachkim ba. Whether it's Gedula braided or whether it's what it is Aruga, you can go ahead what and be Mesachik. Even I feel a katana you can use for schach. Why? It's hard. It's hard. And you're not going to lay down upon it. The Chen Hoyer Reb Doisa Oimek, guys, important. The Chen Hoyer Reb Doisa Oimek Kidvarav. Reb Doisa also is apparently saying like him. So guys, so apparently by katana, l'chayra, so he's arguing on what? On Rabbi Eliezer and the Chachamim. In our Mishnah, Rabbi Eliezer and the Chachamim said stam, they didn't take into account what? The weave. They only took into account the size. And they said katana, stam katana is no good. Here we're saying if it's a woven katana, even if it's what it's an aruga, it's good. That's very important to remember that. A katana, whether if it's as long as it's woven or gedula or braided, it still will be good. Even a katana. We're gonna call hachatzolos mitamim tamei mes. I'm not defining chatzolos yet. It's going to be machlokes, guys. Kol hachatzolos, something called chatzolos mitamei tamei mes will be mitamei tamis mes. Divrei Reb Doisa. Midras. What's tumis midras? We know anyone who has a tumah yitzimikufay mitzayra zav nida. If they go ahead and press themselves down on something that is usually a chair, a bed, a mat, something that's usually sat down upon for that purpose, it becomes an abatuma. Mashma midras in tome mesloi, aiva anantanan kola metama midras metame tumis mes. Anything the guy says metame tumis midras is metame tumis mes. Guys, when you're a chiddush, guys, Rashi brings the chiddush. I've spoken to you about pshuti kli eitz not makabel tuma. If it's something without a receptacle area, it's not makabel tuma. That's only if a zov. It's only if it's something that if a zov would sit on would not be tummy tumis midras. If something a zov would sit on and be tummy tumis midrash, it even will be makabel tumis mes, right? Even makabel tumis mes. Okay, so now and for the Gemara, mema af midras. So now we have machlokes. The Tanakama says only midras, only tummy mes, and the Chacham say both mes and midras. Good, no kash yet, guys. Nothing, no question yet. Good. So again, let's get something called achaytzolos. Says the Tanakama is tummy to mismace. Says the second opinion that what even the Chacham say even what even midras af midras in the af midras. So both. My chaytzolos. What is exactly is chaytzolos? This is important. Amrav Avdimi bar Hamduri Marzuvli. Now, lest you feel bad, the Gemara yes, my Marzuvli. Lest you feel bad, Amrav Abba, Mizabli. My Marzuli is Mizabli. Now you can feel bad because you don't know what that is, right? Okay, anyway, the Rashi brings guys, seems like a little bag of a shepherd that they used to go ahead and use as a pillow. So it had a receptacle area and they used it as a pillow. So Kolachet Solos, it has receptacle. Since he lies down upon it in his head, it has a din of midras, something that's put pressure on. Midras, and it's tabi tumis mes. Reb Shimon Lakish argues. So Shimon Lakish says, "Machzolis mamish." It's mamish a mat. So all mats are matama midras and mace. According to the opinion, it's only mace, and according to another opinion, it's both. Now, very very strange Gemara. Now for us, the Reish Lakish is tamei. Dam Reish Lakish. Harmeni kaparis Reb Chio Banov. That is, Rashi brings, there's a shita that a person's father dies, a relative, you say, Hari Parasa Mishkavai, that Yisurim that I go through should be a kapara.
They big into kapara.
Okay, no, it's brought down in Shulchan Aruch. We don't, many people, it's brought down in Shulchan Aruch. Rashi says, Harini Kaparasa, 3 lines at the bottom, Yisurim Aboim Alai, the Yisurim that come upon me, the Kaparasi Shel Reb Chiu Bano should be a kapara for Reb Chi and his sons. For Lashon Kavod, who is Lashon Kavod there? Kishu Masker Aviv or Rabbi Lachim Yisasai Tzarech Lamakain. Says Rashi, you have to say this if you lose your father or your Rebbe, you say this. Hare Kavasim Shabbos, some people 30 days again, but some people say don't say it at all. Okay, anyway, Chalapachas. So Rabbi Shlokish, we're introducing, Rabbi Shlokish is going to prove to you that Chitzolos is a mat. A lot of words to tell us that Chitzolos is a mat. Okay, what does he say? He says the following. He says that his shvach so glorifies Reb Chia and his sons that he said that he should be a kapara for them. Okay, so now, initially when Torah became forgotten by Yisrael, Ola Ezra mit Bavel, Ezra came up in Bavel, V'yasta, and he put it back. They forgot it again. Ola Hillel Habavli V'yasta came along Hillel, the Babylonian, that's Hillel Azaki, that's the famous Hillel. You might remember from Pesachim, guys, the dialogue between Hillel and Ben Beseira. They didn't know whether you bring the Korban Pesach on Shabbos or not. They didn't know. And Hillel came up, he's a Talmud Shmai of Talia, and he told them. And then they said, he made fun of them, Hillel made fun of Ben Beseira, and then Hillel forgot halacha. How do you bring your knife to the base of Mikdash on to shech your Korban Pesach? So he said, no, but watch what the Jews do. So they said if they brought a sheep, they stuck it in the wool, and if it was a goat, they stuck it in the horns. You might remember that part. Okay, so that was the dialogue. Anyway, so he came up from Bavel V'yasta. And he was miyasid. The Aruch LaNer says all three of these guys were the end of an era. He says that Ezra was the end of the era of the Nevi'im, right? He was the end of the Nevi'im. Hillel was the end of the Kabbalah of Nesorah. When was the first machlokes, guys? Between Hillel and Shammai, whether you do smich on a carbon. Until then, there was no machlokes in Klal Yisrael. That was the end of the era. So therefore, and finally, and of course, and Chia Banov was the end of the era of Tanoim. Chia was the last. Chia was the Talmud of Rabbi. He was the last Tana. So each one was the last of their specific kufa, says the Aruch LaNer. So anyway, why is he Chia Banov? Again, all we want to prove, guys, is what? That a machzoles is a mat. And he's going about it in a very long-winded way. He says that what? He said that Chacham and Reb Doisa, then I'll argue on the mats of Usha Amid Beis. Shehein Tumas, they're Tameh, right? They're Tameh Medrash, because people lie down upon them, and you can't use them for anything else. The Shel Teveria, everyone's Moida, Reb Doisa and Chacham are Moida in the mats of Teveria, Shehein Tahirus, that they're tar. You know why? Because they're very hard, and no one's going to lie down upon them. Aman Nechelku, where is the machlokes between Reb Doisa and the Chachamim? That we said Kol HaChatzolos is what? Al Sham Mekayimos. On the rest of the places. Masav Akimin the Leka the Yosef Alayu, since people don't sit on it, Teveria Damya, it's like Teveria. Well, Masav Akimin the Mikri the Yosef Alayu, Usha Damya. Sometimes people sit down upon it, it's like Usha. So what do you see from here? That well, guys, all we want to prove is that like Shimon Ben Lakish goes according to a Shita that Reb Doisa holds it's a mat, right? The machlokes between Reb Doisa and the Chachamim by Machzolos is it this like mat of Usha or the mat of Teveria? But it's a mat and it's not mat. It's not a shepherd's bag. That's all we proved. It's not a shepherd's bag. That's all we proved. It's a mat. That's it. We proved it's a mat. Now, Omar, going back over the Bryce. Good. Kol HaChatzolos, whether it's shepherd's bag or a mat, the Tamei Mace, Thomas Divrei Reb Doisa. Iva Tanya, the Chain Hoyer Reb Doisa Oimer Kidvarav. Okay, now you got a problem. Go back to the Gemara. I told you this is important to remember. Guys, Tanabana, Machzala Shel Shifa Begemi, right in the middle of the blot, right? Shel Konim, right? Shel Konim, it depends. If it's braided, you could use it for schach. If it's woven, you can't use it for schach. Rabbi Shmuel says it doesn't make a difference, right? Achazu v'achazu, even though it's hard, the sachnuah. So Rabbi Doisa say a katana that's hard. You could use it what for? What? What could you use it for? You could use it for what? For a mat. If I could use it for sukkah, what does that mean, guys? Is it makabel tumah? Not makabel tumah. It's not makabel tumah. Why do you just say over here? It is makabel tumah. There's your problem. You hear the problem. In fact, no, the Rosh is above. The Rosh is said on before. Mark Kedisla on the peer before. So now says the Mar V'chein Reb Doisa Oimer Kidvarav like Kasha Hadis by Ganpa Had the less like Gedanpa. Gedanpa is a rim. If it has a Gedanpa, then it has a rim. It has a base kibble. It's matame. If the mat doesn't have a rim, then what? It's a mat and it's not matame. A mat. A base kibble. A base kibble. Kedafna is a base kibble.
That makes it like clay.
Yes. Yes, yes. Mashen Kane, if it doesn't have that, it's not, it's flat. Okay, now, Mesave. Chaytzola shel sham v'shel gemi, a mat of sham and gemi. Again, these are this type of grasses. V'shel sak, that's made from the hair of a goat. Sackcloth, guys, is the hair of a goat. V'shel sphira is horsehair. That's horsehair. Mitame tumas mace. Divrei Reb Doisa. V'chachamim maimim af midris. Now, Bishlam Mandi Amar Marzuvli Shel Sham Bishel Gemi Bish say Marzuvli of what of loose weaving Chazal Lekinsa de Peri. You could use it for a container for large fruit. Since it can be used as a container, it's Makabal Tuma. Shel Sak Bishel Sfira Chazi Legulki Vitsina. You could use it for small vessels that can hold tiny berries. El Mandi Am Machzolis Mamish. The one that says it's Mamish mats and not a shepherd's bag. You can use it as a curtain, but nafsa or a sieve. In other words, if you put some grain in it, it'll seep through. Or you can use it as a v-line, as a curtain. What could you use it for? That's makabel toma. And tomorrow chazilin is isa. You can use it to cover beer. No, it's once we came over to shtamshus a kli, it's makabel toma. Ikadi army. The other way around. Bishleim that's mamash mat. The first guys, in the first lashon is Bishleim was a shepherd's bag. Now the second lashon, Bishleim you could use a rod for to cover beer. You could use it as a curtain or a column or a seat. So you're going to say that what is a shepherd's bag? If the shepherd's bag is made out of goat hair or horse hair, you could use a rod for those small fruits. You can use it for large fruit. When I went to the Goyla to be Ma'abed Shana, she says, I found the Zachin, and he told me the following. You can do schach out of a mat. And when it came to Rabbi Yeshua, my uncle, he was made that you go ahead and use a mat. It's a katana. I'm Rav Chisda, who the Leslie Gedafna provided doesn't have what? A Gedafna. And the Rush has a very interesting bit over here, guys. What happens if the Kli had a Gedafna and you broke it off? What would you say? You had this Kli, right? And you broke it off. Could you use it for schach? Initially it's Makabal Toma. Now you broke it off, right? So we saw halacha earlier about Bavlor Kalim. If you have, let's say, a piece of, let's say, something that came from a larger kli, right? You can't use it. So he said the brush is machmer over here. He says this is like within the Bavlor Kalim, like a ripped piece of kli, right, man? This you wouldn't be able to use it because they had a shame kli once upon a time. We had the Gezeres Kalim, guys, right? If we let you use this, you may come to use that, even though it doesn't have the shear. Right? That Kli Cheres is only they're breaking it, but again, it's a special halacha by Sukkah. We see by Bavlor Kalim, Rip Kalim by Sukkah, we don't use since they come from kosher Kli. So he says the chumrah over here also. Now, Amar Chisda, who the less like a dafna? Amar Ula, Hani Badisa, the Bnei Mechuza, these mats of Bnei Mechuza, Il Mole Kirsha lehem. If not for the kir, they had a rim around them. Then Mesachim, will you be able to use them for schach? Tanya Namihochi, Mesachim bebudya. And Yeshlem Kir Ein Mesachim Ba. Hajnach Sukkah. Thank you all for listening. Mazel tov, guys.